Welcome into the Acres Broadcast Center. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is your Sports Nightly Ticker. Happy Tuesday, Huskers fans, as we'll have a good show for you ahead tonight. We'll talk to John Cook in Hour 1. He'll talk about some mental health and the importance of that. And in Hour 2, we'll be joined by Nate Rohr to discuss Nebraska Softball's stellar season. And we'll also get a latest inside look at kicking back with the Cooks. In Huskers news today, Nebraska men's basketball saw one of their own turn pro. Forward Lat Mayen has returned to his home country of Australia, where he will play pro basketball. Huskers baseball received some conference recognition as pitcher Emmett Olson was named to the All-Big Ten second team, while outfielder Garrett Anglim made the All-Conference freshman team. Olson went 3 for 3 for wins and losses this season with 19 appearances, striking out 65 batters in 66 innings, and he pitched to the tune of a 2.86 ERA, while Anglim hit .303 across 49 games to go along with 28 RBI and 28 runs scored, highlighted by a Huskers record-tying 3-home run game against Iowa earlier in the season. Over to pro sports and the MLB scoreboard. In current action, the Rockies and Pirates are scoreless at the end of 2 innings. In the bottom of the first, the Cubs lead the Reds 3-2. In the middle of the second, the Rays are up on the Marlins 1-0. And in the top of the first, the Dodgers and Nationals are scoreless. Just about getting set to start. The Orioles are at the Yankees. That one's just underway. Same with the Dodgers and Nationals. The Phillies and Braves will get started at 6:20. The Tigers and Twins at 6:40. And the Blue Jays and Cardinals at 6:45. Later tonight, we'll see the Red Sox at the White Sox at 7:10. The Guardians and Astros will get underway at 7:10. And then we'll see the Rangers and Angels kick off an 8:38 start time. 3 games at 8:40. That'll be the Royals and Diamondbacks, Brewers and Padres. And the A's will visit the Mariners. And then to round it out at 8:45, the Mets take on the Giants. Playoffs continue in both the NBA and the NHL. On the hardwood tonight, it'll be the Warriors trying to sweep the Mavericks in Game 4 of that series. And in the NHL, the Rangers and Hurricanes are just underway. In their Game 4, the Hurricanes lead that series 2-1. At 8:30, the puck drops for Round 4 of what has been a very wild Battle of Alberta, as they call it, up in Canada, as the Calgary Flames look to take on the Edmonton Oilers. And in the NFL today, reports that the NFL is considering dropping the Pro Bowl altogether, getting rid of the game and trying to find a new way to reinvent their all-star honorees at the end of the season. That's the ticker. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Bischoff comes set, and the pitch. Fastball drilled into center field. Racing back is on. Racing back. It's over his head, and it is gone. Home run, Bryce Matthews. Day with a line, the first pitch, and Wallace grounds it back up the middle, base hit to center field. Squire scores. Andrews around third. She's gonna score, and the Huskers take the lead. Banjoff turns and crushes one to left. Mays is back. He's to the wall. He looks and is gone. Banjoff gets a homer out of here to left. The Huskers add another one. It's 9-3, Cornhuskers. First pitch to Peter on. Lifted in the air to left. Wind's going to help it. Banjoff back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. He jumps and makes a terrific catch as he falls into the fence for out number 3. 3-1 Huskers. First pitch. Livingston grounds to third. Gray to her left has it. Throws to first. In time! And Nebraska has won the 2022 Big Ten Tournament title! For the first time in school history, they've won the Big Ten Tournament Championship.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to another night of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network. A little wet outside today. They're going to have trouble, I think, tomorrow at the Big Ten Tournament up in Omaha. It's supposed to start at 9 a.m. I think there's going to be some rain in the forecast. The SEC Tournament began today in Hoover, Alabama. They have had off and on. They're even talking about reformatting the tournament.
Well,
to
at
go
least
to
there will be
elimination.
actual rain to, you know.
Purdue has decided not to even show up. No, that's bad.
Too soon? Too soon?
Probably too soon.
Okay.
But yeah, they're gonna have problems tomorrow. Everything on Thursday, Friday looked pretty good, but they can have a tough day tomorrow. So if you're going to Omaha, and I know a lot of Husker fans already bought all session passes, so I know people will still go. You may have to check the forecast before you head out and head your way to Schwab Field to watch the tournament tomorrow afternoon. We're going to talk to John Cook's going to be a big part of tonight's show. Two different kind of things, we're going to play the latest edition of Kicking Back with the Cooks, where he wants to be a cowboy, Jessica. I'm just convinced that's what he really wants to do with the rest of his life.
Well, I mean, we all of a sudden have heard it. Seems like every interview he's done something about Bud or the saddle,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. So we're actually going to see him riding horses.
Yep.
If you're watching the stream or if you missed it on our YouTube channels by hearing him talk about all of that and diving into that part of his interest in horses and all of that.
So that's coming up in hour 2. We're going to hear hour 1. You've been doing a series of reports about May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and my goodness, our hearts and prayers go out to all those folks in that community in Texas who've been rocked today with that horrific school shooting down there just 90 miles west of San Antonio, and they believe that there's some mental health issues involved in that. But John Cook talked a little bit about this, because you're going to do a feature later in the week that we're going to hear from Kinsey Knuckles. So you talked to Coach Cook about that, but he revealed that he has had struggles with that as well.
Yeah, and we'll keep you posted on when that for sure will be coming out, probably at the end of this week. But Kinsey Knuckles, there's a lot of layers to her story. But in diving into her story, discovered that Coach Cook has had his own struggles with panic attacks, which is what Kinsey Knuckles has battled through over the last few years. And so, yeah, he speaks openly about that and the help that he got. And especially with men and just with athletes, there's been this I guess, wall that, you got to be tough and you got to battle through it. And as we've worked through that, then now we're seeing that it's the men are more reluctant, right, than women. And so just continuing to have that conversation. And the thing about with the volleyball program, that's been a big part as he continues to try to make sure all these things are in place for the athletes to have the most success possible. A big part of that is mental health, and he's been very open and accepting of that. And so, and not just with his own battles, but just the mental part of the game, how important that is, and focusing on that and all the things that go into that for his program, but then diving into his own struggles and how that's impacted him, and telling a little bit of Kenzie's story. So we're going to dive into that. It's an important conversation. I'm glad these athletes have been willing and open to sharing the things that they've been through. I think it's so important, and I think a lot of people have been impacted by these athletes opening up and sharing about their mental health journeys. Well,
you started the month out with a really amazing piece with Omar Manning, and I think that shook the core of a lot of Husker fans. They're like, my goodness, I didn't realize that he was dealing with all those issues. So I'm glad you're continuing on with that. And again, Kenzie, later in the week, John Cook will talk about that issue here in just a little bit.
And I know we had talked about Bryce Matthews earlier on. Once he saw Omar, so he wanted to share his story. We're going to wait on that a little bit with his injury and all of that. But Bryce still wants to share his story. We're going to do that. Absolutely. He still wants to do that. We're just going to wait a little bit and give it some time after the unfortunate crazy accident or crazy injury that happened on the turf a couple weeks ago. So we will share that story. That's coming. It just won't be this month.
Let's loop back to baseball. Tim had it in the ticker. Emmett Olson, second team all-conference. He did a really nice job. I think Emmett Olson has a chance to be the Friday starter for the Huskers next year. I think right now he'd probably be the odds-on favorite to be that. And I was so proud of Garrett Anglem, the freshman from up in Papillion, who had such a tremendous year to make the all-freshman team. Certainly deserved that, put up big numbers. When we talked to Ben last night on the program about baseball and to expect some attrition, it has started. Leighton Banjoff, who started a good chunk of the games in the outfield for the Huskers, put out on social media a couple hours ago that he is leaving the program. I think that's first of a handful of guys. I think we're headed to a fairly sizable roster shakeup with baseball. And, Will Bolt's already got 18 guys that are set to come in the door next year. I know the roster goes from 35 to 40, so they get 5 extra spots in that roster, but they only said goodbye to 8 seniors. So 18, 8, and even 5. My math's not great, but that means there's more to come.
Yeah, and you think some of it, too, because Coach Bolt has been absolutely adamant that, hey, this is not going to happen again. We're not going to settle for this. You think some of it is more figuring out which players fit the program, who's going to be the best for getting this program back on track and the culture put in place to get to where they want to be?
That's exactly what it is. I think, and I think he was pretty hard on this group this year. He knew there was more in there than what they were giving him at their time, and I think he was hard on his team, and some guys don't take to that very well. So Leighton Banjoff did put out, he thanked Nebraska fans for his time here, but he's going to further his academic and athletic career somewhere else. So looking forward to seeing what that becomes, but I think we're going to have news for the next couple days about baseball. Let's get it back to another topic that Tim had on the ticker, and that is Lat Mayen is now playing professionally in Australia. Thus, his college career is over at Nebraska. We had KP on last week, and he thought both Lat and Trey McGowan's are probably done. We have not heard from Trey. Currently, Jessica, they sit at 14 people on scholarship. My money would say Trey's out the door, but I think we all saw this coming with Lat.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of weird that Trey hasn't made his announcement. I'm not sure what he's waiting on, and the fact that, I mean, I think next week is when players all have to be in and they start their summer workouts. But
I think it's 2 weeks from yesterday.
But they also had been here in May, which, you know, I think he had been out working with Bryce some. And so it's kind of surprising a little bit that Trey hasn't made his announcement yet one way or another. I don't know if maybe he's trying to see how some things go or what his waiting is, but I'm not surprised about Lat. I think we kind of all assumed that was coming, and so good for him. And I think kind of the same thing a little bit is and not saying anything bad about Lat or Trey by any means, but you know, they've got some guys coming in that are hungry and they want to turn some things around, and they know that it's time. They want to turn some things around. They need to turn some things around, and I think they've got some guys that they're excited about to help do that.
Coach Hoiberg in the release today said Lat has decided to pursue professional basketball opportunities back home in Australia. Everyone in our program appreciates the contributions he has made to the Husker basketball program over the last 2 seasons and the work that he put into the gym every day. Lat has been a pleasure to coach, and look forward to him embarking on a professional career. And, you know, Lat is a native of Adelaide, Australia, so he's gone back home, much like a Jazz Shelley or Izzy Bourne. A couple of Husker women's players are from Australia. Lat is as well. I'm not sure a lot of people knew that. I think a lot of people weren't sure that Lat was from Australia, but he is. So he's gone back home, and he can make some good money playing professional basketball down there, but his Husker career is over. And
you throw in the fact that, you know, because of those foreign players can't make money on NIL.
Right.
That's another reason why guys and players want to stay and come back for college. But if you're a foreign player, that's not anywhere close to being something that you're going to be able to do. So it's understandable if these players that are foreign can go make money playing professionally when they can't make NIL money. So, you know, good for him. And like you said, you can make some really good money playing overseas. So not surprising news, but it kind of ends that story that we were wondering where would this go. Well, that Lat finally put an end to it today. Again, we had Ken on last week, and he said he thought that's probably where we're going and probably where we are going with Trey McGowan. So now, you know, now Andrew's got to find a different guy to kind of champion on that roster, because Lat was his guy. So now he's got to find somebody else. I think he'll hop in on that C.J. Wilcher bandwagon. Maybe. I think so. C.J. be a good one. I think C.J. could have a good year, a breakout year. We saw some flashes of, you know, what he could potentially do, and I think he's coming in with a lot of confidence. He played well down the stretch. He shot it well pretty much the whole season. He did. He was the only one that shot it well consistently throughout the entire year. So I think C.J. Wilcher is poised to have a big year. I hope so. Where Emmanuel, I'm drawing a blank on his last name, from SMU, who did sign with Nebraska last week. We're working on trying to get a hold of him before the week gets over. So we're looking forward to that conversation when we get him. And as Jessica said, early June, all the men's and women's teams are both back on campus and going through workouts at that point. I was over at women's basketball today, and of course, Maddie, who we've talked to, she's older, but they only have 2 freshmen coming in, and Maggie Mendelson, the volleyball basketball combo, she'll be in for a little bit, but then she's going to play with Team USA, and then when she comes back, she'll be all in on volleyball. So really only 2 newcomers and only 1 really freshman that will be going through all this newcomer process, which is, it's good for a team to have that much returning experience that you can kind of hit the ground running. Our Sports Saturday Hotline is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse, first 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. Let's go to the phones. Tyson and Lincoln, you're up first tonight. Good evening.
Yeah, quick question for you guys. You guys are kind of talking about attrition in baseball with Leighton transferring. I know that the current seniors on the roster that are not transfers, Cam Chick, Shea Shanneman, Griff, can they come back for a super senior season like Lexi's done, with volleyball, or are they just done?
No, a couple of them are eligible. Cody Frank, I think, is the one, and maybe E-Fry are the two. They're two of those 8 that they have exhausted their eligibility. But the rest of them could. I think most of them are done. I think that the 2 that could still come back, Tyson, would be Griffin Everett and Shea Shanneman. I think those 2 might come back. I think the rest of them have told the coaching staff that they're done, they've graduated, they're kind of ready to move on with life.
Okay, cool. Well, that answers my question. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks. And that's the other part of this thing. You're 22, 23 years old. You're kind of ready to be done being a college student, right? You're ready to go get a job or go do something else.
Right. But I think for Shea Shanneman, though, you said he could come back, right?
He could. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a guy that potentially could help his draft stock a little bit, right? I mean, if he came back for another year, I know you kind of get to the point with Major League Baseball that age does become a factor, but if he could come back and some of those guys maybe improve a little bit, maybe they get a better shot at playing pro ball.
Sam in Omaha on our text line said, I was surprised to see Sports Nightly on Sports Center tonight. Yeah, they did. They talked about the balloon.
He said congrats.
Well, congrats. Well, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I guess.
Our logo was up there at least. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a big story around here. I can't believe it's big enough to make Sports Center. And it was a fairly lengthy piece that they did on it, too.
I didn't see it, but, I mean, I'm sure any politics stuff they could dive into, I'm sure ESPN is all about that.
Yeah. All right, 402-413-2400. Time to tell you to buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. We're back with John Cook as he talks about mental health issues during Mental Health Month here in the month of May. That's next.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today we're tackling the issue of GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. GMOs may sound scary, but they're actually benefiting our environment and consumers. That's because GMO crops help solve specific problems like insects, food waste, and droughts. By selecting good traits from one plant or organism and adding them to another, farmers are safely using science to produce high-quality foods better than ever before. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska researchers are designing the next generation of roadside steel barriers through an industry partnership with Trafix Devices. This partnership has produced the Delta Crash Cushion, a simplistic, effective way to keep drivers safe on highways. This barrier is vital for roadside safety and significantly improves the chances motorists will be able to walk away from roadside collisions.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate.
Shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first for all your vehicle needs. With 2 ways to shop, we make car buying easy. Purchase your new or certified pre-owned vehicle all from the comfort of your own home with available pickup and delivery options. Plus, chat with a sales team member, reserve your vehicle, and complete a credit application online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Or visit our climate-controlled showroom for comfortable shopping year-round. Streamlining your car buying experience. This is Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
Husker fans, get ready to be part of the excitement of the 2022-23 Nebraska women's basketball season by joining the season ticket waitlist today. The Huskers return all 5 starters from a team that won 24 games and advanced to the 2022 NCAA tournament. Make the first choice on the best seats to watch the Huskers in person at Pinnacle Bank Arena this year. Join the waitlist by July 31st at huskers.com/request list.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you got to be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight. The iconic Ford Bronco and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
The Huskers provide the best on the field, and so does Kubota. The new Kubota L60 Limited Edition Series provides the best package for affordability, quality, and comfort, like the deluxe Grand L factory-installed cab or spacious open operator station. Maximize performance with Kubota's best-in-class HST Plus transmission and many other features of the L60 LE Series. Experience the Kubota difference. Visit nebraska-kubota-dealers.com or see Kubota Omaha in Omaha or Osceola Implement and Supply in Osceola.
There's nothing better than the smoky aroma of grilled beef at the ballpark. This is Anne Marie with the Nebraska Beef Council reminding you to pick up a package of steaks or burgers for your next tailgate party. Whether you're setting up in the parking lot or cheering from home, nutritious beef is a home run choice when cheering on the Huskers. Visit beefitswhatsfordinner.com for delicious beef recipes, grilling tips, and tailgate inspirations. Beef, it's what's for dinner in Nebraska.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you here on a Tuesday night, a rainy Tuesday night here in Lincoln, and chilly. It's like 50 degrees outside. It's really cold out there.
It's going to be nice this weekend, right, for Memorial Day?
For everybody to go to the lakes, get the boats out and go.
Pools opening up.
Pools open up. It's good. Let's go. May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and you've been doing a series of reports, and you kind of found your way to John Cook to talk about Kinsey Knuckles, and it opened up a lot of things, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. And so just a little background on Kinsey Knuckles, because there's a lot of layers to her story, which you'll learn more about later on in the week when we dive into Kinsey's part of it. But her father passed away when she was really young, and she didn't deal with those emotions. And so she kind of hid in volleyball, but then all of a sudden that kind of caught up to her. So at one point she was going to quit volleyball. And this is after she had already committed to play for Nebraska. And so she makes a call to John Cook about, I know I'm committed to you, but I'm going to quit the sport. And so kind of telling the backstory of Coach Cook with how he viewed from his perspective of what Kinsey was going through when she was in high school. Because, Greg, you think about it, and this is why it was so important for them to change the recruiting age for females, because back then you could recruit, I mean, I say back then, it wasn't that long ago that you could recruit up into way young. It just changed to be
6th or 7th grade.
Yeah, it just changed to be the junior year, recently in the last couple of years. So that's a lot of pressure, a lot of to go through when you're not ready to go through all of that. And so I think, and then you throw in the fact that, she was dealing with the emotions of losing her father and all of that. So she was going through a lot in high school. But then in 2009, Coach Cook had actually gone through his own battle with mental health and panic disorder is what it's called. And so here is Coach Cook kind of talking about the journey going through with Kinsey Knuckles from when he recruited her to then the process of her going through her struggles in high school, but then once she got into college, going through that perspective, and then just all the emphasis that Nebraska volleyball places on mental health for all of their student athletes.
Well, I remember Kinsey was this undersized outside hitter passing half the court and just competing on a great team. I think they may have won the national championship, but they were one of the top teams in the country. And I just thought, this great athlete passing half the court, hitting as an undersized player. She had a little chip on her shoulder, like, I'm going to show you, big girls. And I just and she's from an area that I've recruited a lot, Muncie, Indiana area, in that program. And over the years, even when I was back at Wisconsin, I've been there a lot. And so those kids are tough that come out of that program.
So did you know then what kind of position she'd be playing for you? You thought, oh, she's just an athlete, let's get her here.
We recruited her to be a libero.
Okay.
And so that was what we were thinking, was we're going to recruit her to be a libero. Because she is, she is undersized, but Husker Power has changed that a little bit. She can hit.
So can you take me back to that phone call when she calls you and saying, Coach, I'm not going to play the sport anymore. I'm struggling and I might quit this whole thing altogether. Can recall vividly that conversation with you. Do you remember that call from your end?
Yes, and I got calls from several other people, like she's just kind of gone off the charts or off the radar, and they're worried about her. And so fortunately at the time she would talk to me, and I was talking her through it a little bit, but she was struggling, and at that time I was thinking, well, we may not get her, but I just had this gut feeling that if we stayed with her and let her work through it, that it was all going to be okay. And I didn't want to bail out. And I know some of the people were saying, you ought to let her go. She's done with volleyball. But I just never believed that. And I've seen it before. And they've just got to learn how to work through it. So at that time in those calls, I had to figure out who could really help her, and that was her high school coach. And she was the one I started communicating with, because Kenzie trusted her and she knew her well. And I think if you ask Kenzie about her high school coach, you will get some really positive, nice things said.
Yeah, she recalls how big that conversation was with you, because there were a lot of people that were just giving up on her because that's what she was known for so long. So did you know in that moment how big that conversation was going to be to her and helping her through some of those hard times back then?
She's never told me that, but when she came here and visited, in coaching you get a connection with people, and I really connected with her for some reason. I don't know why. I just felt a really strong connection to her, and maybe it's because of her background. But she told me what her goals and dreams were at the time when she first visited. And this was before everything that happened, before she got out of volleyball. But she was somebody I wanted to fight for, and I wanted to help. And I felt a connection there, that there's something more here in this. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I really wanted to coach her, and I really wanted her to be at Nebraska.
So when did she come back to you and say, okay, I'm back, I want to come here, and I want to play for you?
Several months went by, and I didn't bug her or anything. I just kept checking in, letting her know we believed we were still going to hold that spot for her, and trying to make sure she was working on things and working through things. So we just kept talking through it. And so I don't remember the actual day. Like I said, I never really doubted it. I felt like she was coming here, and that was what my gut was telling me.
So she gets here as a freshman, and had a great freshman year, right? What did you see out of her immediately during that freshman season?
Well, she had come from a background of very successful high school team, club team, so she was ready for our training and ready to go here. And and probably what I want to say is that I wanted to make sure I wasn't too easy on her, but I certainly didn't want to be too hard on her, and I had to build this trust and relationship with her on how to coach her. And because I think she came from some tough programs, and I think she needed a little love.
So once she goes through her freshman year, she had told me that her very first panic attack was in her freshman season, but it really, really hit more so in her sophomore years when it got really bad. Did you know what she was going through at the time? Did you know just something was wrong? What did you view, I guess, from her sophomore season and some of the battles she was going through then?
Yeah, I knew about it because I think it was a red-white game. All of a sudden, I'm like, where's Kenzie? And she was out in the hallway breathing. And so that's when I kind of first started, or if you want to say when it first started or whatever, when I became aware of it was that moment. And I'm like, what's going on? And they said, she's back, she'll be fine, she's back there breathing. And so that opened the door for me to have conversations with her about this, because I had gone through in 2009, I had gone through some similar things, and I got help for it, and actually right here on campus, and there's a great article that just came out in the Flatwater Press about all this, and so I was able to kind of just talk her through, like, hey, I've been there before, I know what you're dealing with, and we just made sure we had the right people around her, and we were working on those things, and you know, it's a work in progress. It's not something you just fix. You know, it's something, it takes time, and you got to work at it like treating an injury. You got to work at it, and hopefully I was able to, you know, communicate that with her, and you know, and I think me having, I was able to have more empathy and understanding, because probably most coaches are like, what, you know, what's going on? Why, she should be tougher than that, and she is a tough kid, and she is a tough competitor. So that wasn't the question. It was how could she learn to handle all this? So I think knowing what I'd gone through and what I've had to go through for myself, and what I learned about what I'll call cognitive behavior therapy, there's ways to deal with it, and you learn about your body and your mind and how it all works. So I was able to have conversations with her, and I think have more empathy and understanding for what she was going through.
Can you just describe how scary that moment can be, especially for someone like her, that the first time experiencing that in the middle of a volleyball match with so much pressure, and her, I mean, she's like, I didn't know if I was going to survive it. I was that scared. Yeah. I couldn't breathe, that I couldn't hear anything. I mean, I can only imagine how scary that moment can be. Yeah, it's, you know, you can't control it. It's hard to control when it happens. And of course, that's never happened to me in a volleyball match, but it happened to me, and it was actually in the summers when I was starting to deal with some things like that, but that would have to be really scary. And I've seen it a couple other times with some other players during volleyball matches. And I remember the first time it happened with a player. We were on the road, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I just told her, "You get back in there," and she came back in and played great. But at the time, I didn't realize all that was going on. And again, we got her training, and you know, treated it as an injury, and we're going to get this better. And she ended up being great. She had talked about at first she was, like you said, she's tough, doesn't want to show any emotion. That's how her dad was. And when she would go talk to Dr. Brett at first, it was like, like she'd just like sit there and wasn't really open to being open at the beginning. So how did you see that kind of evolve with her too? Well, again, I think in a situation like that, it's building trust and like admitting that I got to work on this, because you know, athletes want to be tough. I don't have a problem. You know, yeah, right. I'm fine, and that's just how these guys are wired. They don't get to this level unless they're tough and they have a lot of belief and confidence. They would never survive at this level. So you've got to get through that. You know, I call it stubbornness. It's a stubbornness that they have to work through, and then she has to build trust with Brett, and you know, and then get to work, and that's what she has done, and it's now she knows, and she can share that with other people, and it validates the work that Brett's doing. You know, that we're doing some good stuff here, and we can help work through those things. Just it's no different than having knee tendonitis or shoulder tendonitis. You got to work through it. I mean, that's what I've tried to do here, is surround our team with a great performance team to help them in all the areas. And sports psychology and the mental part of it is one of the big things. A lot of coaches, you had mentioned this earlier, don't want to talk about the mental health, but we've seen it here recently, just how impactful it is on student athletes nowadays. Why has that been important for you, other than, I mean, your own experience, but to know that, hey, these kids are going through some things and we got to figure out a ways to deal with it, like working with the psych department over here? Yeah, it's, you know, it's been a rough couple of years with COVID and just all the uncertainty going on, and then, you know, the other thing is there's high expectations when you play this program. So how do you deal with all that stuff? And of course, we have ways we try to do it within our team framework, but some people need more, and that's where somebody like Brett can come in and help them on how to navigate and deal with all these things. And I've seen great success, and I've seen changes in players, and I think it is a very, very important part of our program. In fact, you know, we're spending a whole week right now just on training the mind.
you know, we're not doing any volleyball this week. We're just working on how to train your mind. And in preparation of the summer and fall, we're planting seeds now for what it will be like in the fall. So you got to train the mind just like you train an arm swing or passing technique. It's all connected. And you know, coaches have been saying that for years, but now I think it's a little more, you know, there's probably a lot that was hidden in the old days or people didn't recognize, but now it just seems like everybody's more aware of it, and now we can do something about it.
Yeah, that was part of the conversation we had with Coach Cook for an upcoming story that we're doing with Kinsey Knuckles. But the Kinsey Knuckles conversation was about 50 minutes long, just kind of going through all the layers of her story and her journey and how she got to the point that she got to. But I thought it was important to share Coach Cook's perspective on it because he's gone through it himself. And then also, you don't find a lot of programs that are embracing the mental health part of it. You just heard him talking about a couple of weeks ago, it was when we did that interview, that they weren't doing any volleyball. They were attacking the mental health part of it. And that's so important nowadays to address that. And it's just the athletics has changed. And it's especially here in the last 5 to 10 years, how important the mental part of it is. And the fact that Nebraska volleyball is putting such an emphasis on it, I think is hugely important. And going back to the whole recruiting part of it, we're seeing, I've had conversations with Dr. Brett throughout this whole process with these series, and she said nowadays parents are wanting to know, what do you have in place to help my kid in case he or she goes through any of these issues. And so Nebraska is at the forefront. They're leading the way in it, and there are a lot of different issues when it comes to mental health. It's not just one thing. You've heard it several times now throughout this process of it's like an injury, and it can be an ankle sprain, it can be an ACL injury, it can be chronic neck or back pain. I mean, there's different elements and different injuries that you have to work through in any given circumstances. The same thing with your mental health, and the fact that the resources here are so incredible and so there, and it's so accepted here, and it's talked about here. It's so important, and it is, again, just cannot say enough about these student athletes that are willing to share their journey, because it's helped so many people already.
No doubt. And, part of the brilliance of John Cook, too, is his ability to adapt to these type of things. 20 years ago when he was coaching here, that wasn't even part of the whole thing. Now he knows it's a big part of it, and he's adapted and added it to his program. It's incredible.
1,000%. And I think just the way that he's evolved in a lot of different things in this and the NIL stuff, I mean, he's staying on top of it. I mean, and what worked in 2000 doesn't just work now.
It doesn't.
There are certain elements that, you can carry on from year to year that works with the program, but exactly how you did things in 2000 doesn't work in 2022. And that's why he's such a successful coach. And those coaches that have been around and still have successful programs evolve with what's going on. And he has done that in several areas, but mental health being one of those. And a lot of that is the experience he went through himself.
Right.
And, kudos again to him for speaking out about it, because it's even more, men are even more hesitant to talk about their mental health issues than women. And even athletes in general don't talk about it, but they're making it okay to have this conversation. And it's just so important. And I just cannot say enough, kudos to those athletes for sharing their story.
Looking forward to the Kinsey Knuckles story coming up later this week here on Sports Nightly. Our Sports Nightly hotline, it's open and available for you, 402-413-2400. Call or a text. That is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. More of the show coming up.
Let me grab my car keys and we'll roll.
We still going to that new bar downtown?
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Lexi, give me driving directions from home to downtown Bar District.
Autocorrect. Suggest Uber. Pick up. Home. Drop off downtown Bar District.
No, I'm driving.
Suggest the Metro bus. Departing in 12 minutes.
Huh. Point taken, Lexi. We'll grab a ride.
If you drink, don't drive. Decide to ride. Brought to you in partnership by Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and Uber.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
The Nebraska FFA is growing leaders
and building communities.
Together, we are strengthening agriculture.
The Nebraska FFA Foundation believes in our future leaders and the communities they serve. We believe in the future of agriculture.
Join us in the I Believe in the Future of Ag campaign. Learn more at neFFAfoundation.org. Brought to you by Aurora Cooperative. Tougher together, Aurora and you. And Frontier Cooperative.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today's topic, animal agriculture. There's been a lot of talk suggesting that giving up meat is good for the environment. However, livestock emissions only account for less than 4% of greenhouse gas emissions, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Also, by reducing meat in your diet, you're missing out on all sorts of beneficial nutrients like protein, iron, and zinc. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Knottle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Knottle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit knottlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
Okay, let's get a photo of the bride and groom standing next to that giant mud puddle. Good. Now smile.
Oh, honey, don't look now, but you're covered in mud.
Oh, so is your white tux.
You know what this means, don't you?
Trucks and Bucks from the Nebraska Lottery is back.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the happiest day of my life. Don't you think we should head to the nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer?
I do.
Trucks and Bucks is back, and you could win one of 8 new trucks. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Huskers fans, it's time to plan your dream trip to Ireland and see your team face the Northwestern Wildcats at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Single game tickets are on sale now at huskers.com/Ireland. Start the 2022 season in the best way. Plan your dream trip to Ireland and see your team face the Northwestern Wildcats at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Buy your single game ticket today at huskers.com/Ireland.
Let me grab my car keys and we'll roll.
We still going to that new bar downtown?
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Lexi, give me driving directions from home to downtown Bar District.
Autocorrect. Suggest Uber. Pick up. Home. Drop off downtown Bar District.
No, I'm driving.
Suggest the Metro bus. Departing in 12 minutes.
Huh. Point taken, Lexi. We'll grab a ride.
If you drink, don't drive. Decide to ride. Brought to you in partnership by Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and Uber.
They say if you listen hard enough, you can hear the corn grow. It's true. When you're out in the field, you understand its challenges and what it needs to thrive. Channel Seedsmen bring insights from the field to our team of Bayer plant breeders. Their knowledge inspires our product development. From your best ground to your most challenging conditions, our products are designed to perform in your fields. Visit channellistens.com to see our latest innovations. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night, 2400, the number to dot us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. Denny said, wow, great interview with Coach Cook. Very enlightening. Great work. Let's go to the phones. Tim in Minnesota joins us next. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening, guys. Hey, this topic has definitely triggered a question in me. And my angle, I know, is not necessarily often discussed on this. You know, there are other forums more, maybe some people may feel appropriate. But I would like to ask Jessica, what role do you think, or has anyone talked about the role of spiritual faith? I know last time I talked to you guys, I actually got to see you guys in person. I had shared a few things on my end that was similar things that were tough on me, and had to work through those. And obviously the faith community that I have had and support both people I've known in Lincoln as well as the people I've met up here have been huge for me in those things. So I'm curious as to that, especially knowing that Nebraska sports have had also quite a rich spiritual heritage. So that's my question for you guys. For you guys, Jessica.
Yeah, and I think you'll see on social media a lot of the athletes share about their faith and how important that is to them. But it's not just about your faith; it's about talking through someone that specializes in that. And so it's not all just about. I think for a lot of them, and I'm not speaking for one specific athlete. This is just my generalization of some of the conversations I've had. It's a number of different things working through these and working with Dr. Brett and the psych department. There's a reason why they specialize in those things, and it's a profession and talking through all of that. But then it's a process of working through that. And yes, the spiritual based part of it, I think you'll see on a lot of their social media platforms, they're vocal about that. When they do interviews, they'll talk about that. So I think it's a different combination for different athletes, which is all great, whatever works for them, you know.
Tim, I do know with the football team on road games that they gather on the morning of a game, and they'll have a Bible class that they have there. So I've physically seen that happen with the football program. But appreciate your call. Need to get to a break. Buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Bill, hang on. We'll get to your call next.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you got to be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight. The iconic Ford Bronco and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Hi, I'm Nebraska Pick 3.
I'm My Day.
I'm 2x2. We're 3 great lotto games from the Nebraska Lottery.
And this is our first radio spot ever.
But we've only got 30 seconds.
So we gotta talk fast.
With Nebraska Pick 3, you get to choose your own bet type.
With My Day, you choose a 6-digit date.
And 2x2 has a $22,000 top prize.
And we're all just $1 per play with drawings every day. That was easy.
And we did great.
With 8 seconds to spare.
We should be doing all the lottery's ads. Sorry, that gig is already taken. Must be 19, please play responsibly.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
See Shelter Agent Jeb Brandt in Hastings, DJ Robertson in Aurora, or Callie Schilke in Imperial.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
Whether you compete on the court, at the track, on the field, or in the fields, winning isn't just a goal. It's a mindset, shaped, honed, and defined throughout the season. That's why farmers pushing themselves to be the best plant DeKalb brand corn. Wherever you compete, winning has roots. Perform at your best with DeKalb. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you. Final few minutes of our number one of the program, 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question. Let's head out west, out to Portland, Oregon. Bill, you're up next on the program. Good evening.
Yes, Greg. I wanted your opinion about something. Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald was talking about baseball, and I guess he was mad or frustrated that Nebraska hadn't made the Big Ten tournament, and therefore, I guess he was suggesting that Nebraska, along with should sort of go to a regional conference, for example, like Nebraska and Creighton and Iowa and UNO, something of that nature, that the fact that the schools will be closer together, I guess, instead of playing other Big Ten schools. Now, personally, I just don't like that whatsoever. I only want to see, I only want to see Nebraska playing other Big Ten schools, and I just thought I'd get your comment about that.
I appreciate it, Bill. I think there is some thought out there that for a lot of the kind of the Olympic sports, then maybe you go to a more of a regionalized scheduling, and I'm talking about the ball bat sports, wrestling, soccer, those type of things that maybe you do. Do you really need to be flying across the country and playing Maryland and Rutgers, or would you be fine if you're just playing Kansas and Kansas State and Iowa State? And your travel budgets aren't as much. You don't have to be flying all over the place. Maybe you're on a bus a lot more often.
You don't have to worry about rain delays and getting on a plane.
True. So I think that there's some talk about that with some of the Olympic sports, is maybe regionalize the Olympic sports. Keep football, basketball, conference-wide, but maybe regionalize some of the Olympic sports.
You got to think, too, some of that would help the RPI, because the Big Ten RPI statistically hasn't been
as good
for softball and baseball as good as, say, the Big 12 has a better RPI than a lot of times, in baseball especially, could help there as well.
I just think, I think administrators, and we had one in here last night, and Trev Alberts, they're looking at ways to make some sense of some of these things. Does it make as much sense to fly clear to the East Coast to play a conference game in all these sports, or should you regionalize certain sports? Not the big ones, not football, basketball, but some of the Olympic type sports. So that's the thought, I think, behind that bill. By the way, the Big Ten has already announced a baseball schedule change for tomorrow. They're not going to play 4 games tomorrow. They're going to play 2, and not starting until 5 o'clock because of rain that is expected to be in the area up until noon tomorrow. And then the next day we'll have back to the 4 full games for the next day. All right, our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse, first 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. We're back to put a bow on the softball season. Nate Rohr will join us next.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there's no place that treats you like home like Sapp Brothers. For 50 years, Sapp Brothers has fueled America's heartland and been a reliable partner to local farms and Husker fans across Nebraska. providing the highest quality fuel, lubricants, and propane, servicing your farming equipment and welcoming guests into their travel centers. Visit www.sapbros.net. Sap Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
The 2022 Nissan Rogue Sport is street savvy, road trip ready, and always fun to drive. Equipped with standard features like rear automatic braking, blind spot warning, and high beam assist, so you can surround yourself with confidence on the road. Plus, explore the 3 Rogue Sport trims to find the one that's right for you and your lifestyle. Choose your experience and shop, finance, and purchase online at woodhouse.com or in store at Woodhouse Nissan in Bellevue or at Woodhouse Place.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he's so hot. The air conditioning is out again. But wait, he sees an opening. SOS! SOS, he screams and calls 391-2336. SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer. Boy, he made the right call today as SOS is already on the way. SOS is your trustworthy company since 1950, and with Luxair, you get free 10-year labor warranty with the new system. Call 391-2336 or visit soshvac.com today.
Welcome inside the Acres Broadcast Center. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is your Sports Nightly Ticker. Happy rainy Tuesday, Huskers fans. In hour 2, in just a few moments, we'll be joined by Nate Rohr as he helps us put a recap and put a bow on the stellar season that Nebraska softball enjoyed this season. And we'll get an inside look at the latest, kicking back with the Cooks. In Huskers news today, Nebraska men's basketball saw one of their own turn pro. Forward Lat Mayen has returned to his home country of Australia to play pro basketball for the Cairns Marlins in the NBL 1. Huskers baseball received some conference recognition today as pitcher Emmett Olson was named to the All-Big Ten second team, while outfielder Garrett Englund made the All-Conference freshman team. Olson went 3-3 this season with 19 appearances, striking out 65 batters and 66 innings pitched with an ERA of 2.86, while Englund hit .303 across 49 games to go along with 28 RBI and 28 runs scored. And he had a highlight game in which he tied a Huskers record, hitting 3 home runs in a single game against Iowa earlier this season. Over to pro sports and the MLB, where in current action, the Rockies and Pirates are still scoreless. In the last check, it was the 5th inning, and the Pirates were still being no-hit. That's familiar territory for them. In recent weeks, they managed to win a game by being no-hit, no less, just a couple days ago, so we'll see if they've got some magic again today. Cubs lead the Reds 5-2 in the third. The Rays lead the Marlins 2-0 in the fifth. The Yankees lead the Orioles 2-0 in the third. The Dodgers are up on the Nationals 5-3 in the second. Phillies lead the Braves 1-0 in the second. The Tigers and Twins, they're scoreless in the second. And Toronto leads St. Louis in the opening frame. Later tonight, we'll see the Red Sox and White Sox at 7:10. Guardians and Astros also at 7:10. Then at 8:38, the Rangers will meet the Angels. Then 3 games at 8:40, the Royals and Diamondbacks, the Brewers and Padres, and the A's and Mariners. And then at 8:45, the Mets will take on the Giants out west. Playoffs are continuing in both the NBA and the NHL. On the hardwood tonight, it'll be the Warriors as they attempt to sweep the Mavericks in Dallas. That's their opportunity tonight in Game 4 of that series. Warriors, of course, up 3-0. And in the NHL, the Hurricanes are just about set to start their second period. Score currently, Rangers 2-0, trying to even the series at 2 in their Game 4. At 8:30, the puck drops for round 4 of the Battle of Alberta, as they call it up in Canada, and Western Canada, to be specific, as the Calgary Flames take on the Edmonton Oilers. In the NFL, announced today that the Rooney Rule will be applied now to the quarterback's coach position, and they also mentioned that they are currently considering eliminating the Pro Bowl game and trying to come up with alternative ways to honor their All-Stars at the end of each season. That's the ticker. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Bischoff comes set, and the pitch. Fastball drilled into center field. Racing back is on. Racing back. It's over his head, and it is gone. Home run, Bryce Matthews. Day with a line, the first pitch, and Wallace grounds it back up the middle, base hit to center field. Squire scores. Andrews around third. She's gonna score, and the Huskers take the lead. Banjoff turns and crushes one to left. Mays is back. He's to the wall. He looks and is gone. Banjoff gets a homer out of here to left. The Huskers add another one. It's 9-3, Cornhuskers. First pitch to Peter on. Lifted in the air to left. Wind's going to help it. Banjoff back. He's to the track. He's to the wall. He jumps and makes a terrific catch as he falls into the fence for out number 3. 3-1 Huskers. First pitch. Livingston grounds to third. Gray to her left has it. Throws to first. In time! And Nebraska has won the 2022 Big Ten Tournament title! For the first time in school history, they've won the Big Ten Tournament Championship.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
We're back. It's hour number 2, Sports Island, here on a Tuesday night. No more Husker sports for 3 months. We're done now that the ball bat sports are over. We're going to talk to Nate Rohr here in just a couple of minutes. To wrap up last hour, we're talking about maybe regionalizing the Olympic sports down the road. I don't think this is anything imminent, but I think it's been something that ADs have talked about. Doug in Norfolk said, I like the regionalization for the Olympic sports. Makes a ton of sense, cuts down on travel. Maybe more fans can go to away events. Might even regenerate some of the old rivalries with like Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa, Wichita State, maybe even throw Minnesota in there as well. So, yeah, I think there's something at least discussing. I know Bill in Portland maybe didn't like that idea, but Again, not for all sports and not for football or basketballs, but I think for some of the other sports.
Do conference championships really matter that much in the ball bat sports?
I don't think so.
I mean,
no.
I mean, you think about some of the other, for example, like in the Big 12 or even in the Big 10, like gymnastics doesn't have that many.
They don't.
So if you just go to taking away the conferences and you just compete with whoever, whenever, and then you just go to the playoffs.
The Big 12's wrestling field is
wrestling, yes,
goofy too. So if you could add Minnesota, Nebraska, Iowa. I mean, I don't know,
but it's like if you just compete with whoever, wherever, and then you just start the postseason and there's no conferences, I think it might make things more interesting a little bit for some of these sports, especially some of the sports that are dying off and dwindling away.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So again, I think it's been discussed by college administrators. I don't think there's anything imminent, but it has been discussed. Well, let's discuss Husker softball. Their season came to an end over the weekend in the Stillwater Regional. Nate Rohr joins us now, and he was on the call for the games over the weekend. How you feeling, bud? I mean, I know the end of the season's kind of tough because it just slams shut on you. It's all over. What are your emotions like right now?
Well, you just kind of pick through all of them right now. There's a little depression, some sadness that you're not going to be around these great people and these exciting moments like we have been, especially the last couple of months. There's also some excitement from the standpoint of, well, the softball team had a great year this year. Where can it go next year? But it is very jarring when you go from a season where you spend all week thinking about, okay, we're going to place X. I need to pack. I need to prep. Who we playing? Who else is playing in the Big Ten? Well, now that's all over. So it's a little tough for me working through it. I'm certainly happy with the season that Nebraska softball had. Just sad to see it over.
I know a lot of people loved listening to your call of Husker softball, and we were able to put every single game on some way, shape, form, or fashion that people could listen to all throughout the season. But for those that didn't know, Nate had to call the entire regional in the press box with everybody listening to him. There's not a booth that he could go into and close the door. And I loved a little bit, you had some jabs in there for Oklahoma State that I loved hearing. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate your coverage all season long, even though despite it ending, still what a special year to get to call Nebraska softball all year.
Yeah, it was a renaissance year. I think that's what the overriding theme of the season when you look at the performance on the field, the renewal of the spirit in the program. This team set out in June with the right mindset, the right work ethic, the right attitude, the right leadership, and they were able to achieve at a level that they haven't for almost a decade. When you think about second place in the Big Ten, that was their best finish since 2014. They go to regionals for the first time since 16, so that's a 6-year absence that's erased. So this was a year of rebirth, and you know, the excitement for me, the happiness for me, is the idea that this team was able to be as competitive as they were, and hopefully this is the start of a multi-year renaissance for this program. And when you look at the lineup and the roster of this team, Sydney Gray's a sophomore, Billy Andrews is a sophomore, Ava Breadwell is a freshman, Maya Felder has one more year. So there are a lot of key pieces on this roster that still have time. Abby Squire just completed her sophomore year. They'll need to look for some answers in terms of pitching, and wouldn't hurt to add another bat, but there are a lot of reasons to believe the softball program's going in the right direction.
I want your thoughts on Olivia Farrell, because she's thrown a lot of innings in her Husker career, but to me, and you were certainly much closer to it than I was, it seemed like her performances really took a huge step forward this year. And talk about that, and then talk about the future in the circle.
Well, I would agree with that assertion that this is the best she's pitched in her career. I think there are a couple of reasons for it. I think the biggest was the fact that she had some faith in the defense around her. Farrell was not a big strikeout pitcher in her Husker career. She was always going to have to rely on her defense. And for the last few years anyway, that defense has been a little suspect. Well, This year, it tightened up. Maya Felder at first base, and very rarely do you talk about a first baseman's defense. But in softball, a first baseman's defense is more important. And Maya Felder, once a game, would turn in a play that was pretty high level. Billy Andrews was really good at short, especially ranging to balls, had a good arm. Sidney Gray had a good arm. Cam Ibarra was steady at second. So I think the good defense around Farrell allowed her to perform at her highest level, because she was always a hardworking kid. She's always somebody who has put in the work, has been focused, has been determined. But, you know, so often balls that would be outs with other defenses, with better defenses, would trickle through the infield or get kicked around by Nebraska, at least earlier in her career. So Farrell got better defense around her, and I think that empowered her to pitch well. As far as the future in the circle, Courtney Wallace has another year, and I think she'll come back for the Huskers to where she can hopefully turn in a similarly great senior year. There were times where Wallace was pitching even better than Farrell, and Farrell was very good all year. And I see some promise in Kaylin Kinney. They didn't use her a whole lot, but when they used her, especially the second half of the year, it seemed like she was able to get people out. And you hope her development process continues to where she's somebody you can rely on in the circle.
Just the way the experience that they gained, and, you know, I think we were all talking up in the press box about, you know, Nebraska takes the lead over Oklahoma State and then have a little bit of an uncharacteristic error. Just what they could kind of take away from the regional and what needs to happen to advance. But then also on top of that, how important it could be to host. What needs to happen there to continue to advance and take another step forward off and build off of what they did this year?
Well, a couple of ways that they can improve their performance. The offense got a little quiet toward the end of the season, and some of that is a byproduct of facing great pitching basically every time. And even how Nebraska fell in the Big Ten bracket. Yeah, they were in the number 2 seed, but Bailey Parshall was a terrific pitcher for Penn State. Lexi Handley was all conference for Ohio State. And then the pitcher they faced from Michigan, Alex Storaco's an All-American. So the Huskers face some great pitching, and they need a little more consistency in the offense if they're to win more, whether it's more in postseason or more in the regular season. I suspect that next year Rhonda Revelle will schedule a little tougher in the non-conference. This wasn't an inordinately easy non-conference schedule, but I think it's safe to say that it's a little easier than it has been in past years. And I think that was a wise calculation to try and build some confidence and belief. Well, mission accomplished this year. So next year, this team can go out and challenge itself a little more in non-conference and maybe position themselves better to host a regional. But that's kind of what's ahead for them if they want to take that next step to where they not only get to regionals, but they win a regional or have a really good chance to win it.
Visiting him, Nate Rohr, who just wrapped up Husker Softball this past weekend in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The biggest loss of the weekend, and very disappointing to me, is I'm told you did not go get chili cheese fries at Eskimo Joe's. Now, if that's the case, that's a major fail, Nate.
Well, you know, it's regionals, you're busy, and you know, in the clutch situation like that, sometimes we underperform a little bit, and I'm going to have to plead guilty to that. So I choked it away. It's my bad. I was kind of hoping we did actually have catered Eskimo Joe's at the hotel, just no chili cheese fries.
Okay.
But, you know, hey, that's what happens when you leave your destiny in others' hands. You need to take care of things like that yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, you talked a little bit about the pitching, but do you have any insight on some of the other new Huskers that might be coming in as a part of the recruiting class? And I know we'll hear more transfer portal news, how that unfolds into the summer. I think we even got Maya Felder's news in July or August. So we'll continue to hear that. But as far as some of the incoming freshmen, do you have any insight on that?
I've not dove into those freshmen as yet, to be perfectly honest, especially this year, settling back in after not being with the club last year. I was still getting my feet set with the people on our roster now, but this coaching staff has done a pretty good job of bringing in talent. And, you know, you look at the last couple of years where Sydney Gray and Billy Andrews and Ava Bredwell have all been added to this roster. This coaching staff has been able to bring in talent, and considering the 5-year regional drought and the struggles over that time, that's pretty impressive. So I have faith that there's some material coming in, but I haven't really had a chance to visit with the coaching staff about it yet.
All right, buddy, what's ahead for you? I know in the last couple summers you've been with the Fremont Moo, that summer league. What's on the plans for Nate Rohr in the next couple months?
Well, I decided to not continue with the Fremont Moo. They were supposed to open their season tonight. However, weather got in the way of that. However, I am doing some announcing with the Omaha Storm Chasers, and in fact, I'm going to be on the radio for the Storm Chasers the next 2 days, so I'm very excited about that. So whether it's on the radio or on the public address speakers at Warner Park, if you're following the Storm Chasers this summer, the odds are decent you'll hear my voice one way or another, but I'm really excited to have the opportunity to do that. Our pal Ben McLaughlin's doing that tonight, which is pretty impressive. So at any rate, I'll have some involvement with the Storm Chasers, and then I will be diving into those preseason magazines that are probably spinning on the presses right now. And I'll blow on the magazine twice to make sure the ink doesn't smudge, and as soon as they come out, I'll dive in and start thinking about Big Red football.
See, now I got made fun of a few weeks ago because I said I was looking forward to the magazines, and somebody goes, "You still read magazines?" Nobody reads magazines anymore. I like to get my hands on those things and look at them.
Well, yeah, it's one document. It's one thing that has all the information. Of course, you know, the Phil Steele's kind of the gold standard of it, but the Athlon, the Lindy's, you know, you need to buy a couple to have one voice against another and see where things average out. And, you know, let's be honest, the Royals are probably not going to sustain our attention here in the summer. I'm hoping for a turnaround, but, you know, I'll take the sure sunshine and balloons of the preseason magazines in the hope for a good Husker football season.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Appreciate it. Great work all season long. Enjoy your summer.
Hey, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Nate Rohr, the voice of Husker Softball, also the voice of Memorial Stadium. You'll hear him in September when the first Husker football game takes place. He joined us on our Sports Nightly Hotline, which is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying. To save you time, shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. We're back with a portion of the latest Kicking Back with the Cooks coming up next.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first and experience the difference. The all-new 2022 Bronco Sport is built wild for the thrill seeker, the sightseer, and the day tripper. A capable and dependable SUV that's ready to tackle the dirt, dust, and mud. Bronco Sport offers 4 models to match the way you explore the outdoors. Shop, finance, and buy your way. Online at woodhouseford.com or one of our 3 convenient Ford locations in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
A tradition of winning doesn't happen overnight. Like any team, you gotta be tough, play smart, and work hard. No one understands this more than Ford Motor Company. They built the best team in the game with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 45 years straight. The iconic Ford Bronco and the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Shop online at buyfordnow.com or visit your local Ford dealer to buy or custom build the perfect truck or SUV for you. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. During the summer of 2021, 3 UNL students helped safeguard cattle across the state. Neely Anderson, Tatiana Jones, and Ashton Commons developed secure beef supply plans that prevent the spread of disease outbreak. The plans protect nearly 850,000 cattle across our state and provide greater economic security for this vital industry.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics. You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, digital and social media, radio advertising, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Did you ever buy something and get more than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it, the confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
You always dreamed of owning your own farm. Now you're living your dream, and it's time to pick the tractor that makes it all come together. Massey Ferguson has reinvented what compact and utility tractors can be and redefined what they do, making them easier to operate, more comfortable to drive, more versatile than ever. Massey Ferguson gives Nebraska farmers the power and performance to win in the field. Kearney Equipment, Kearney, Nebraska, your big red Massey Ferguson dealer in central Nebraska.
When you're a sports fan, it's kind of like having a new love interest. You want to know all about them. Only instead of learning about someone's third-grade crush, you want to know the latest scores, stats, and lineups. To get that, you need Cox Internet. Cox gives you that window to look deeply into your beloved team's soul, not to mention their injury list. Cox, we're sports 24/7. Learn more at cox.com/sports.
From sprains and stitches to sore throats and sinus infections, when it's care that can't wait, count on CHI Health Clinic Priority Care. Simply walk in 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You'll get the quality care you need without an appointment, and you'll never pay more than a regular primary care visit. Get in, get out, and get on with your day. Find a location near you at chihealth.com/priority care.
Everyone knows that Dakota Mac is known for their great rates on long-term fixed ag real estate loans. But just how long-term are they? Well, even longer term than your first ride on the Gravitron at the county fair. And even longer term than the line to buy the corn dog you definitely shouldn't have eaten before you got on the Gravitron. Oof, so long-term.
Hi, it's Boyd Benry from Dakota Mac. Give me a call at 402-463-4637 to learn all about our competitive rates on 30-year fixed-rate loans.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you. Thanks again to Nate for coming on. And, you know, and Trev referenced this last night, Jessica, that softball team and Amy Williams basketball team, you could tell early in their seasons that there was just a good dynamic, and that really carried those teams through both of those seasons.
Yeah, the culture, absolutely. And if you missed the episode on both those programs, there's a part in it where both Amy Williams and Rhonda Revelle talk about they were meeting on Zoom during COVID and stuff and read a book. And just, I mean, it's just they have similar views and approaches to how they manage their cultures. And it was very similar how much they, you know, you heard a lot with women's basketball, how much they wanted it more for the person next to them than they wanted it for themselves, and holding each other accountable and wanting to have a certain standard so you're not letting down your teammate. And that's exactly, it carried over. It was the same feel when you're around that team. But also just, you know, getting to be around them a little bit, just the, you know, just the how much they enjoyed the joy of being out at the ballpark, just how there was just a joy of being in the gym for a practice, for a game, no matter what it was. It was very similar feelings, and you don't find that with every team. You just don't. And so for it to be for 2 programs this year that you found that in, it was really, really special to go from women's basketball to softball.
People will think I'm cuckoo, and a lot of people already do, so that's fine. I think football had a little bit of that too. And hear me out, because they didn't win a lot of games, but they never fractured. And the way that team hung in there week after week, they weren't getting the reward of wins on Saturdays, but they played really well together. And I think there was and you even, I think, made comments a couple times about covering that group, that they were a fun group to cover. I think they were really tight. They just didn't get a lot of breaks or make their own breaks when they needed to late in games.
Yeah, and it's just so different because it's so much a bigger team, and you got offense, defense. Whereas in a softball or basketball, you play all together all the time,
right?
And so it's not so separate. But yeah, I mean, the football team had a great culture, and it could have fallen apart in a hurry, and it didn't. It could have fallen apart after the first game, and it didn't. And they were fantastic to be around, and they were supportive of each other, and they had a great approach, absolutely. But the way that those the culture for the softball team and the women's basketball team, it was really, really special about, and they played together so well, and they fed off of each other. It was there's a chemistry and there's a culture, and both have to be
correct.
I mean, some people think that they're the same, but it's different. And the culture was absolutely there, but then there was a chemistry when they were playing together, and that's, I think, it created for this magic a lot of times.
And football just didn't quite have the magic.
Right.
They were together, they just couldn't finish games up a little bit. But yeah. All right, kicking back with the Cooks. The latest episode does not feature Lauren. It's John and his director of ops, Lindsay Peterson. And Lindsay has been a long-time rider of horses, and John Cook is getting involved in that. And so this kicking back or conversation with the Cooks is they're in a horse barn. They're riding around, right, in a little horse barn, and they're on top of horses, and they carry on. This is crazy.
I gotta figure
works.
out, because somebody asked me this too, how they shot it so smoothly. I don't know if there was somebody else.
I don't know that.
There's no way that they were riding backwards. They had to be on a golf cart or something, like with holding the camera, because the camera shot's impressive too.
Pretty steady. So here's the latest edition of the Kicking Back with the Cooks, minus Lauren, but Lindsay Peterson, who's the director of ops for Husker Volleyball, taking her place. Enjoy.
Introducing Kicking Back with the Cooks, presented by Woodhouse. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, and buy online at woodhouse.com. Here's head coach John Cook.
We're hanging out with the UNL rodeo team. It's pretty cool. I feel like we're in the field of dreams for horses and rodeo and riding in here. It's awesome. Lindsay, you having a good time?
Having a great time. Been in this arena a few times, barrel racing, but it's always fun to be with true rodeo athletes, and I feel like anytime you're around more rodeo athletes or people that do this for a living, you can always learn something as far as whether it's barrel racing, roping, or just working with horses in general. So anytime I can be around, surround myself with people who know horses and know this type of lifestyle, I always take it as an opportunity to learn, and I love it.
Or Lindsay, I've been thinking, about riding horses and stuff and how it relates to coaching. And, this rodeo team here trains just like we do. They train 4 days a week. They have drills, they have sequences they go through, practices. So it's no different. But the other thing that I found working with horses is you have to build a relationship, and you got to build trust with the horses. And then once they feel that, they'll do whatever you want. But you're constantly working on that relationship and the trust and trying to work with that horse. And I really think it's helping me see coaching in a little bit different way. Because I think some of our players are like horses, a little stubborn. But once you get them to go, they go.
Well, just like our players, I feel like each horse they got their own personalities. They have their own little quirks. They respond to you differently, so you can't ride each horse the same way. You have to understand the way they move, the way they operate, maybe what gets them a little more worked up, and I think that's a great translation for coaching. And I hope this new hobby of yours is, where it carries over to the court, because I think there are a lot of lessons that apply. Just as you have to gain the players' trust, you gain these horses' trust. You have to take care of them. You have to learn about them. You can't just hop on a horse and expect to be able to ride. You have to figure out that horse ahead of time and get to know them, and just like an athlete. So they're athletes. They're just four-legged athletes, and they have to operate under pressure just like our athletes have to operate under pressure.
So one of the great things about Reba is she's teaching me how to rope. She's a veteran, so she knows what to do, and I feel like sometimes she looks at me like, you're such a rookie, like when I hit her in the head with the rope. But anyway, when I first got her, she was not a lovey-dovey horse, and then once we've built this relationship now, she's loves to get her neck rubbed and her head rubbed, and loves the attention. It's pretty cool. And the other thing is, these horses love to work. They I think they get bored just hanging out, and when they get to work, they really like it.
Reba definitely does. I think some days Dreamer would much rather stay at the hay bale, but Reba's definitely a tremendous athlete and rope horse. And that's a great horse for you to start learning on, because she knows what she's doing. It allows you to figure out your trait a little bit quicker, and she kind of like, you have to take care of her. She's going to take care of you while you're on her and help her with this new hobby of roping. And you just learn to work together as one, as a team. Just as you're a team on the volleyball court, coaching staff, our whole program, we have to work together as a team. You learn that same thing with these horses.
So Lindsay, one thing I've really noticed about you, you're really comfortable around horses, you know everything, and I know you grew up on a farm. So when did you start riding, and how'd you get into it, and then and I know you played volleyball, basketball, because I saw you get knocked out once and come in and hit free throws in the championship game, whatever. So how'd you manage all this and still keep up with horses?
Well, it was more of a summer hobby, but my grandfather got me started in horses. They grew up, that's how they got work accomplished. When he was growing up, you had to rely on a horse, and he really liked horses. So he got us a horse when we were younger and started learning on them, and it was our chores. So you had to get up and do chores, and I convinced my parents when I was in junior high that I wanted another step-up horse to start doing more with. So get up and do chores, ride early in the morning before I had weights or practice or whatever it be, or I knew I was coming in for club, and then show whenever I could. And so it's just really it was an outlet for me, actually, after I spent, a whole day playing club volleyball. If I had the opportunity to come home and ride that night, or if I had an opportunity to ride that morning, it was an outlet that just kind of let me clear my mind and put me at peace. And I really find peace when I'm on horseback, and have grown to love it. So I think it's important. Like, it was an important part of my childhood, and I want it to be an important part of my boys' childhood, because I think there's a lot of lessons learned, but you learn how to work hard and take care of an animal, but I think there's a lot of things you get back from them too. And so that hard work in the gym, hard work playing, carried over to hard work, getting a horse ready to ride. I couldn't just expect, if I wanted to show, I couldn't let her go a month without riding her. She had to be ready to go, so that time put in either early in the morning or at night in order to get her ready.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about Lindsay. When I asked her, how's the day going? She starts telling me about her chores she did in the morning. She does chores every morning, taking care of these horses. Because we got Bud, who's taking the day off. Bud's, he's a volunteer coach. He can't work too hard. And then she has 2 other horses as well. So she's taking care of 5 horses and 4 kids. So I bet you the horses are a good break for the kids.
Horses
4 boys.
They don't complain when I feed them for breakfast. They love it. They look forward to seeing me. And boys, sometimes I'm not sure if they want to see me when I wake them up in the morning. So I remember when it came up for Bud was up for sale and wasn't going to work for the boys, and I brought it to your attention to see if you wanted to buy him, and you asked me if I was crazy or if you were crazy getting into horses. I think now you think that you made the right decision once you've been riding, but what made you to make that swing? Was it because you watched Yellowstone? Was it you're interested in challenge yourself in another way? Because I know you're never satisfied without the next challenge, or what really made you say yes to that purchase?
Yeah, well, first of all, my son Taylor, who's living in Wyoming, met a girl and went on some rides and said he wanted to get a horse. So he switched from a motorcycle to a horse. So I said, okay, got to stay in on this one. And then Yellowstone probably had something to do with it, and we built a house in Wyoming that, I want to retire up there. So, it's a lifestyle up there, horses. So it just all kind of came together, and you talked me into it. I think we were on the road at Wisconsin and Purdue playing, and when all this was going on, but the cool thing is, since then, you get in the horse world in Nebraska and met so many cool people, like all these guys and girls here, hardworking, these ranch cowboys, and I got to go brand with a family out in Overton, Nebraska, the Enoch family, and it's you just meet all these great people, hardworking, and much respect for what they do. And I think it's like I said, it's a lifestyle, but it's fun, and so I don't know, here we are.
Yeah, you kind of went from 0 to 100. You went from getting a horse to getting another horse to branding like within 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you're learning, you had to learn quick. Your learning curve was pretty steep, but I'm impressed. Like, I feel like you've become almost a natural on there, and I can see that being on a horseback has definitely brought another joy to your face, or new joy to your face. I feel like when you're talking about your horses, I can see you kind of glowing now, and I think that's really cool to see how much you've really dove into this new hobby, but how much you've embraced it, and you bring the same passion to this as you do coaching almost.
Yeah, it's fun. And here's the thing, Lindsay, you don't think about Nebraska football too much when you're riding these horses.
Right.
It's a great hobby, it's a great distraction, and so it's I don't know, it's fun, and you're out in nature too, which is great, and you got these powerful animals that can do amazing things. So and I think it's helped me with coaching. I mean, it makes me think about how to be a better coach, working and training these horses.
Oh man, that's fun. That's fun to see them riding around, and it looks like Bud wants Coach Cook to let him go a little bit. He wants to run.
You jealous?
I am. I love riding
horse?
horses.
Yeah.
My family they have horses. I was back in Oklahoma over the week, but I didn't get to go out there and see any of the horses. So
When Lindsay said to John, she goes, you went from 0 to 60 on this. One day you're talking about getting a horse, and you get one, then you get two, and then you're branding, and that's what he does. That's his personality. Is like all in and go.
yeah, when she said you bring the same type of passion to this
Coaching.
horse thing, he was on Bud, right? Was that Bud?
I think he said Bud was that. I don't think that was Bud.
That wasn't Bud, because he said something about her, so that
Yeah.
was a different horse.
Yeah, he said Bud got the day off.
Well,
'cause
whichever horse he was on was kind of wanting him to.
Let's go.
She was looking around like, let me go a little bit, but
Yeah.
he brings the same type of passion to that as he does. And I remember one of the first shows I did with him, he was talking about when he was bicycling, when he was cycling, and so it's everything he does with passion. It's something to learn it from, right? I mean, you approach everything like that.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That's the latest edition of Kicking Back with the Cooks. I think they're maybe even already taped their next one, which will be put out in a week or so. We'll look forward to that as well. Nebraska 811 says, go dig red before you dig. Always call or click 811 to have your utility lines marked. It's free, it's easy, and it's the law. More of the show coming up.
The game isn't just about winning or losing. It's about the snacks they share after they've used up all their energy in the field. It's the early morning practice before school and staying late after to get a couple more kicks in. It's the pride they feel for their team and the determination to always keep improving. Sure, the game isn't always about winning or losing, but when they've won the big game and celebration is in full swing, there's only one thing left for you to do. Get them home safe. Buckle up and back. Paid for by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Okay, let's get a photo of the bride and groom standing next to that giant mud puddle. Good. Now smile. Oh,
honey, don't look now, but you're covered in mud.
Oh, so is your white tux.
You know what this means, don't you?
Trucks and Bucks from the Nebraska Lottery is back.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the happiest day of my life. Don't you think we should head to the nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer?
I do.
Trucks and Bucks is back, and you could win one of 8 new trucks. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Preparation. It's the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Whether you compete on the court, at the track, on the field, or in the fields, winning isn't just a goal. It's a mindset, shaped, honed, and defined throughout the season. That's why farmers pushing themselves to be the best plant DeKalb brand corn. Wherever you compete, winning has roots. Perform at your best with DeKalb. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Huskers, do you want a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding? Explore the many ways you can be a part of the insurance community. Go to iian.org/careers today. Business insurance is a lot to manage. Did you know a trusted choice independent insurance agent can help guide you through it at no extra cost to you? They'll do your insurance. You just do you. Find out more at trustedchoice.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. Husker fans, get ready to be part of the excitement of the 2022-23 Nebraska women's basketball season by joining the season ticket waitlist today. The Huskers return all 5 starters from a team that won 24 games and advanced to the 2022 NCAA tournament. Make the first choice on the best seats to watch the Huskers in person at Pinnacle Bank Arena this year. Join the waitlist by July 31st at huskers.com/request list.
Visit the truck experts at Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Blair for all your new Ram truck needs. From the most awarded light-duty truck in America, the 2022 Ram 1500, to the hardworking and capable 2022 Ram 2500, we have the truck to get the job done. Stop out for a test drive in Blair during the Make the Switch event or shop, finance, and buy online with eShop at WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com.
Husker fans, get ready to be part of the excitement of the 2022-23 Nebraska women's basketball season by joining the season ticket waitlist today. The Huskers return all 5 starters from a team that won 24 games and advanced to the 2022 NCAA tournament. Make the first choice on the best seats to watch the Huskers in person at Pinnacle Bank Arena this year. Join the waitlist by July 31st at huskers.com/request list.
Nothing goes better with Husker sports than Fairbury. Fairbury, premium quality hot dogs deliver the home game experience to your family and friends. The highest quality beef, pork, and natural spices give you the best tasting hot dog and your hometown favorite Big Red hot dog. Look for Fairbury hot dogs all year long at your local grocery store. Fairbury, the official hot dog of the Huskers and Nebraska fans everywhere.
At Great Western Bank, they are committed to your community. With all the local decisions and personal attention of a hometown community bank, they also have the convenience of a bigger bank. It's the best of both, so you can bank with your neighbors and your friends. Great Western Bank wishes all area teams a safe and successful season. Great Western Bank, member FDIC.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. The university has a new undergraduate business and law major. Students majoring in business and law are learning to use legal knowledge to better solve business challenges. They are also gaining skills in regulatory compliance, financial services, securities regulation, and corporate social responsibility. Upon graduation, they will boost the state's talent pool in these critical areas of expertise.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, it is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you. Tuesday night, Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network, 402-413-2400. Let's go to the phones to Gretna and Greg. Good evening, Greg. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, guys, for taking my call. Just a quick question. With all the success that we've had using the transfer portal and the NIL help that comes along with that to make it all work, I was curious about if Coach Bolt had talked about that on the coaches show. I missed that last week or the other night, whenever that was. And I was just curious if that's one of the tools that we are locked and loaded to use this offseason to help bolster the talent on the roster. And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. No, I think all the coaches at Nebraska and all the sports are trying to utilize NIL the best they can, and you've got one collective already in Lincoln that's helping to do some of that, and I think a lot of the sports have benefited from that in the first 12 months of this thing, and absolutely, I think you'll expect Coach Bolt. We had Nate Rohr on earlier in the hour. I think Coach Ravel will do the same thing. I think they're all trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that Nebraska, especially for women's sports, is ahead of a lot of places. Now, you might have certain sports that one program might do well, like, for example, Oklahoma softball, I think, does really well in NIL, but they're about the only women's sport that has a lot of NIL support. But here, it's their volleyball. You looked at that graphic from the Final Four, and 6 of the top 10 NIL earners were from Nebraska. Women's basketball, I know you can watch their social media feeds. They're all doing well. Softball, all of those sports are doing really well, and it's absolutely a huge recruiting tool.
And for softball, it's about the circle. That's where you really want to go. And for baseball, it's probably about a pitcher or somebody who puts up big offensive numbers. But absolutely, Greg, I think Will Bolt is looking into that. They're trying to take advantage of it as best they can. Hey, buckle up with the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Randy, hang on. We'll get to your call on the other side of the break.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
At Groundworks, we take great pride in helping our Nebraska neighbors keep their homes healthy. From repairing foundations to waterproofing basements to fixing crawl spaces or lifting concrete driveways. We'd like to think our customers choose us because of our attention to detail or the fact that we're the nation's leading foundation solutions provider. What gives our customers the most comfort is we're right here in Nebraska. Visit groundworks.com for a free estimate. Groundworks. Foundation solutions crafted with pride. The official foundation company of the Huskers.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there's no place that treats you like home like Sapp Brothers. For 50 years, Sapp Brothers has fueled America's heartland and been a reliable partner to local farms and Husker fans across Nebraska. Providing the highest quality fuel, lubricants, and propane, servicing your farming equipment and welcoming guests into their travel centers. Visit www.sappbros.net. Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Fuel your curiosities and inspire your lifeblood with the first ever Mazda CX-50, available now at both Woodhouse Mazda locations. The remarkably intuitive standard all-wheel drive Mazda CX-50 is responsive, making the driver's connection to the road natural across a wide variety of driving scenarios. An interior where form and function meet, making the cabin luxurious and durable. See the first ever CX-50 online at WoodhouseMazda.com or in the showroom in Bellevue or at Woodhouse Place off 144th and Giles Road.
Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody. Final few minutes of Sports Nightly here on a Tuesday night. To the phones we go. Randy out of Maxwell. Good evening, Randy.
It's been a little while. Hello, Greg and Jessica.
Yeah, where have you been? What are you hiding from us?
Well, I've been listening to Husker baseball on the radio.
There you go. Right answer.
You know, I'm the guy that grew up in SoCal listening to Vin Scully and Dick Enberg. And I'm not putting Greg, you and Ben and Nick with that class, but I do enjoy listening to you guys. And, gosh, I wish the season would have gone on a little longer.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And one other thing, it's too bad, like baseball, the tournament, the Big Ten tournament, it's too bad the host team isn't automatically entered.
Yeah, the way they format it, and they don't take everybody, it only the top 8, so that they can do a double elimination. You got to have a cutoff.
Little League Baseball does it.
No, I know, I get that, but I also think there's something special about earning your way in, and this team just didn't do it, unfortunately.
I know it was a heartbreaking year. Hey,
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Well, I look forward to next year.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate the call. I understand that. I think it'd be nice. It's an odd number because Wisconsin doesn't play baseball, so you only have 13. So it's an odd number to begin with. So I have no problem with it being at 8. Softball's 12, so they don't
especially when you start talking about postseason and turning right around and having your arms be fresh and ready to go, because you only have so many arms.
Right.
And you have to, for some of those teams, especially the ones, that's why you see a lot of times those teams that have already secured up a seed and they're going to host a regional, perhaps super regional, get that national seed, make early exits in the conference tournament because they don't want to burn their arms or go through their arms and
right.
They want to be well rested and ready to make a postseason run.
The one team that's probably got to play their way into the NCAAs in Omaha this week is Iowa. They're the ones that probably need some wins to get there. Again, they've changed the schedule for tomorrow. If you've got all session tickets, and I know a lot of Husker fans bought them, they're not starting at 9 a.m. There's weather. It's supposed to rain overnight and into tomorrow morning. They're only going to play 2 games there tomorrow, starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you're going up in the morning, don't go. You'll be sitting there by yourself, right? Sitting there by themselves.
Maybe go walk around downtown Omaha and find a spot to post up.
Yeah, go to the old market and have some lunch. Thanks to Jessica, to Andrew, to Tim, to Cole, to everybody for listening here tonight. We're back, and we'll do it all again tomorrow night. Good night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first for all your vehicle needs. With 2 ways to shop, we make car buying easy. Purchase your new or certified pre-owned vehicle all from the comfort of your own home with available pickup and delivery options. Plus, chat with a sales team member, reserve your vehicle, and complete a credit application online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Or visit our climate-controlled showroom for comfortable shopping year-round. Streamlining your car buying experience. This is Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
Momentum. It's building at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. With game-changing work in precision agriculture, nanoscience, and digital humanities. We're unlocking mysteries in brain research, solving the impossible with remote surgery using robots. And we're creating bold futures with world-leading research in early childhood education. We don't slow down, and we're not letting up. We are Nebraska.
Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go is mealtime made easy. Just order delicious meals online for convenient curbside pickup or have it delivered. Want breakfast? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Need lunch? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Doing dinner? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Get pancakes, burgers, fried chicken, lasagna, Hai-Chai Asian dishes, sushi, pizza, and more. If you're craving it, Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go has it with curbside pickup or delivery.